Martin Luther King Jr., he said that his job was to comfort the disturbed and to disturb the comfortable. So when a person buys a $2 million or $3 million house, that means they're comfortable. And when they're comfortable, they're not as hungry as they once were. I don't mind if if Che Guevara, pays Che Guevara $1 trillion. But does he cease to become Che Guevara? Does Che Guevara, you know what? A revolution in Bolivia? I love this air conditioning. I am not going to fight no damn revolution in no goddamn Bolivia. This kind of weather, it's fucking hot as shit. No, so is it possible that you could get a $2 or $3 million house and then all of a sudden you're just a whole nother person? Yeah, that could be the moment when you go from being disturbed to being comfortable. So is there any concrete change? Now we're just going to be mad for just to be mad's sake? Is that...
There was a common thread throughout all this, so I don't think any of them are worthy of anyone's respect, as these are just people making money. They're all capitalists deceiving you. And Jimmy Dore is a capitalist millionaire who is making his money off of you guys or the believers in him, just as anybody else on the right or any other people that Jimmy Dore would call a sham, that TYT would call a sham, that the New York Times would call a sham. I don't need to go into more examples, but these are all the exact same beast. It is just like with Republicans and Democrats. These are the same.
So at the bare minimum, it's not socialistic, it's not communistic. I've heard people say that this is, it's not against Marxism. Marxism is just against profits. Against profits? I think profits is... Well, this is liberalism. This is, at the very most, it's liberalism. It's not communism. It's not socialism. So buying $1 million house is not socialism, not Marxism, not communism. It's capitalism. And it's, liberalism because we're not really capitalist. To be, capitalist, that would be liberal, right? That would be a liberal direction. We're all a bunch of capitalists. If America is to survive, that's supposed to be our ideology to the rest of the world. The rest of the world thinks of us as a bunch of damn capitalists, and we have a shit ton of capitalists amongst us, so if you're not thinking a capitalistic mindset, motherfuckers are trying to exploit you and your labor and trying to take, as much money out of your pocket, try to charge you as much money as they can for their, under quality, their crap goods. So when it comes to Jimmy Dore having a $2 million house and Hasan Piker having a $3 million house, do I think of them any differently? Will they change who they are? I don't even know if they're Che Guevara to begin with. But frankly, you live in a $3 million house and people want to defend him and say, it's actually cheap in that part of L.A. West Hollywood or something? It's fucking, expensive over there. So a $2 or $3 million house, they're basically living in the damn ghetto. They're living in the damn ghetto? Well, then that's not a very good investment. That's not very smart. But $2 or $3 million compound, a $2 or $3 million house, which is it? Is it a compound or a house? Does Jimmy Dore have a bunch of AK-47s and Sig Sauers? What does Jimmy Dore got underneath his hat? Is that a compound? So is that a bunker? Does he have an arms hole? Is it like Terminator 2? He's got himself an arms hole. So Jimmy Dore got a $2 million compound, but Hasan Piker, he's got a $3 million home. How come Hasan Piker has a home and Jimmy Dore has a compound? Because he's leading a cult, but Hasan Piker, he's not leading a cult, is he? Hasan Piker is leading a cult just like Jimmy Dore. They're all leading a bunch of damn cults. And so MLK and radicals, I think when we get control of the government, when MLK and the radicals, we win. We win when the working class get power. And so is this the means of production? Has Hasan Piker, is he owning the means of production and now he's going to help, elevate the rest? Because my understanding is you're all about the working class until you get power and money yourself, and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck the working class. Like almost immediately. So yeah, Hasan Piker having a $3 million compound, right? What's he got in his compound? Yeah, definitely. At the very least, there's some hypocrisy. They're not socialist. They're not capitalist, or they're not communist, right? They're capitalist. They're capitalist as fuck. Hasan Piker is a capitalist. Jimmy Dore is not a communist. Jimmy Dore is not a socialist. They are capitalist. And as capitalist, that means they are exploiting. They're getting the clicks, and they are exploiting us. And so we should get something for our clicks. What the hell? Are we getting any real concrete change, Jimmy Dore? Where's the real concrete change at, Jimmy Dore?
Beast. There is no difference between Jimmy Dore and Cenk Uygur. Absolutely none. And no difference between them two and, I don't know, some right-wing person that does the same emotional pleas. That aren't actually based off of information, and these things are true right in front of your faces. This is why they make me so angry. So here we go. Jimmy Dore, I was at his old house before. I've been there, been into his studio. At the time, Jimmy Dore and his wife, Steph Zamorano, were extremely nice people.
This is Dr. Michael Wood.
Very courteous to me. Looked at me as if I was some kind of truth-telling American hero whistleblower. And of course, I find it really weird when people like them now say all cops are bastards, people like me are pieces of shit, and any of you that think people like me are good are also pieces of shit, and the only reason anyone would become a cop or be somebody like me who he...
Dr. Michael Wood is probably a piece of shit. Michael Wood is probably a piece of shit. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. Now, Jimmy Dore is, living in a $2 million compound. Hasan Piker, $3 million. Great capitalist, great liberal capitalist. But if, you're a true blue revolutionary, I want you to be hungry. I want you to be hungry. I want you to be barely, surviving. I want you to be starving. I want you to live in the goddamn gutter. If you're a true revolutionary, what, you're going to be up in the ivory tower telling the rest of us how we're supposed to live? Nah, a true revolutionary is the general, is the commander who is out there with his troops. You don't rise above your class, you rise with your class. Instead, what, you're going to have $2-3 million compounds? Maybe we might need a goddamn oligarch or a plutocrat. We might need a goddamn oligarch or a plutocrat. Look at Tucker and these motherfucking Jimmy Dores and Hasan. They could say, speak their damn minds. But are they going to be true blue revolutionaries? They went ahead and they figured it out, right? They made their millions of dollars, so now it's up to us to figure it out. Now, I want my revolutionary to be poor as shit. I want them living in a shanty shack. I want them to live in a goddamn hole in the ground. Any available ditches. They want any nook and cranny in an alley. Any corner, any nook and cranny in an alley. I want my true blue revolutionary, my revolutionary who's going to fight for the working class to come straight out of the gutter, straight from the working class. I want them to come straight up out of the pig shit, out of the sheep shit, goat shit, out of the dog shit. I want them to be a rose that grew out of concrete. So Jimmy Dore's got a $2 million compound. Jimmy Dore's got a $2 million compound. Does that change his opinion? I bet you he would think about things a lot differently if he was a homeless person. So maybe not. Maybe Jimmy Dore's got it, going on. Maybe he'll be Che Guevara for the rest of our lives. But you can't say he's a communist. You can't say he's a Marxist. You can't say he's a socialist. He might have some socialistic beliefs, but he's also a capitalist. He's a capitalist. Maybe he could use his wealth and privilege, right, to help the rest of us out. Maybe he can, and hopefully that's the hope, right, that he uses his wealth and privilege and helps the rest of us out. But there is some hypocrisy. There is some hypocrisy here. So, you should pay attention to that. You used to live in dog shit, now you don't, now you live in a mansion? I bet you that'll change your views a little bit. I bet you when you was living in dog shit, you was like, we gotta change shit right fucking now. Well, you're living in dog shit. Of course you gotta change shit right fucking now. But now that you're living in a mansion, well, I guess you don't need to change things right fucking now. Maybe we could wait a little long. Maybe we could, force the vote 9 months ago and come back to it, a year or two? When are we going to come back to force the vote? Are we going to do any more force the votes, or I guess we're all $2 million house. We're all living in our $2 million houses. We're good, right? Jimmy Dore?
Get the hell out of here. I I cannot believe what has happened to the left, or the progressive. Let's say the progressives. I mean, I don't even know how to word it, but I don't know how anyone is not aware of this. So we can look at Jimmy Dore's nice, nearly $2 million new property that he got, the millionaire profits off of YouTube, profits off of Trump, profits off of everybody else, slamming them, not doing research. We can look at these, just think every time when you hear them talk about how the millionaires don't do shit for the people. I mean, this is all projection. They're all talking about how it's all projection. This is projection. I mean, this dude will sit here and slam people like me, regular, everyday Americans who have taken the risk and put their body on the line to make people like him safe, say that we're all complete pieces of shit. Well, he does nothing, absolutely nothing for the people. Just pockets those millions of dollars. He doesn't get $1 million house and put $1 million towards helping those people that he complains about needing food. No.
So if Michael Wood is saying that because he's a police officer, he's a piece of shit, I'm not for sure. I kind of go back and forth. Without cops, then, a lot of crime would happen. Civilization is a mile wide and an inch thick. Civilization is a mile wide and an inch thick. So, I don't want to be at the mercy of the most crazy and violent psycho at the moment. Well, there's a crazy, violent psycho. Well, there's a crazy. So we have to do what one, tells us, then the next day, then the next. No, I like having the idea, police, a lot of police suck. Most police suck. But there's reform in Colorado. And so most police suck. And so what I want, it would be nice to live in a utopia where we all, sing Kumbaya and we don't need police officers. So I like thinking about defunding the police completely, but we need police officers. We need police officers. That's, we need police officers for civilization. Civilization is a mile wide and an inch thick, and what? And have no cops with these motherfucking Americans, these pieces of crap, these, white, wicked psychopaths around here? I don't fucking think so. No cops with all these goddamn white supremacists, racist, evil, wicked, soulless motherfucking pieces of shit? I don't think so. No. You need cops. Without cops, civilization would just collapse. Without cops, civilization would just collapse. So we need some kind of cops, probably. So I like to think about reimagining, a world where we don't need the police. But since we need the police, we need the cops to be trained, to be patient, to de-escalate, and we definitely need the cops to be good. We need the cops to be good. Maybe we can have an elite detective force that goes after the violent crime. I don't know. But at the bare minimum, the cops have to be good. They're on the front line of the entire criminal justice system. The three branches of government don't mean shit if the cops come to a scene and say there is no crime here when there is a crime, or, the opposite, say that there is a crime there when there isn't. The whole thing is essentially erected upon their word, their very word, right? They trust what the cop sees and hears. The cop saw it, they observed it, so the system trusts so that means that cop has got to be a trustworthy person. They can't be a liar. They can't go around, lying to people. So No, not at all. Just like Bernie and everyone else, or Joe Rogan, anybody else that sells out, he just gets more money, puts it in his pocket, buys a beautiful house in L.A. with fireplaces and nice look, dude, I am somebody that lives in a $250,000 house. That's what I've been living in my whole life. I never took a penny. I never got any money from all these things. Those millions of views you see of me on their shows, this is what was paying for it. It was paying for these things, for their rock walls and their ample counter space and their... Okay, so Michael Wood seems to be extraordinarily jealous of Stephanie Zamorano and Jimmy Dore. Look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's what I want my revolutionary heroes to be. The same caliber of people of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Where did they stay? Did they stay in a nice big-ass fat fucking mansion? No, they were fucking ninjas. And they were turtles. They got a lot to deal with, right? There's a lot on their damn plate. But where did they stay? In a mansion up on the top and looking down in the ivory tower? No, they stayed not just amongst us, they stayed beneath us. They stayed in our shit water, in our sewers, in our rat-infested sewers. That's a true blue revolutionary. True blue revolutionaries are the motherfuckers that stay in the rat-infested sewers. So that's the kind of revolutionaries that I want. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael. This is some smart shit. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy going on, right? Now, Parasite. Now, I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I'll tell you what I really think. But first, we got to talk about Parasite. What does Parasite say? Well, let's hear what this Parasite. Michael Wood.
There are Italian tile floors and separate offices and sunset views over Malibu. I mean, just go ahead and enjoy these pictures and know that this is how these people work.
Oscar the Grouch, he lived in trash. He directly lived in trash. White trash, they should live in garbage. White trash belongs in the garbage. Now, Oscar the Grouch, you think he might have been grouchy because he lives in fucking garbage? You think he might be a little bit pissed off because he lives in goddamn trash can? Hey, man, I live in a fucking trash can. Why are you so grouchy, Oscar? Well, I haven't taken a goddamn shower. I live in a fucking trash can. In a goddamn, not a house or nothing. No, hey, Oscar, why is Oscar such a grouch? How would you expect, how is he not a grouch? How in the world? So I just watched the movie Parasite, and I really liked the movie Parasite. It was really good. Check it out. It's about the poor Kims and the rich Parks, right? So you got the poor Kims and the rich Parks. It's a South Korean movie. And who is the real parasite? The rich people, they get to be nice and, seemingly mannerly and shit because they're rich. They get to keep their hands clean, but essentially, without the labor of the poor, they couldn't live the lifestyles that they live. So who's the real parasite? Who's the real parasite? It sucks that the working class killed each other. There wasn't a good ending. Then that guy gets stuck in the dungeon at the end. And then it's weird about the dungeon is like a metaphor for the lower classes. So you might be poor, but there's people that's poorer than poor. And then there might be a Native American genocide. And the magic trick, it was kind of a magic trick, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Parasite. I like that it critiqued class. We don't get to see class, and it critiqued class. The working class were all fighting amongst each other. So it's very possible that the rich, they could be noble. The rich could be noble, and they could be Che Guevaras, right? Che Guevara could just find himself in a nice, luxurious mansion. And so you could have a Che Guevara that lives in a nice, luxurious mansion, and you could also have a bunch of poor pieces of shit. They're working class, so, they're salt-of-the-earth people, but they're fucking crap. They're absolute crap. They got to scrape by any means necessary, and so they have to, so you got the rich, right, the Parks and the Kims. The Parks and the Kims. Since the Kims have to, get by in the capitalist society, they're poor, they have to get by. They tricked this rich family into hiring them. But at the very least, they were just wage slaves. So they tricked the rich family into hiring them, but they had to do all the labor for the rich family. So who's the parasite? And then when it comes to, the oppressed versus the oppressor, my heart is on the side of the working class. But this parasite that showed that the two working class families, they were kind of crappy. They were kind of shitty people. And then the rich were noble. The Parks, they were very nice. And they all, the Kims, the poor Kims actually admired and looked up to the rich Parks. They looked up to the rich Parks. They liked the rich Parks. So they might have been, resentful and jealous. And there's this class system that they can't break out of. So Parasite was fantastic, and the reason why I mention that is because can only the oligarchs and the plutocrats save us? Tucker Carlson, Jimmy Dore, they could speak their mind. Hasan Piker, if they, made their money speaking truth to power, using the internet to, speak the truth, then that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And if they continue to, pursue those, noble endeavors, then their $2 or $3 million house And, I don't understand. So when it comes down to what do I actually believe, do they need to live in a cardboard box? Does Jimmy Dore and Hasan Piker need to live in a matchbox or a cardboard box or live in a ditch or live in dog shit to be an actual true blue revolutionary? It helps for me to understand that their hunger is there, that they're hungry and starving and it's bullshit and we need change. So if they can remember their hard times, then they can, always push for change. Che Guevara, he probably wouldn't be as dramatic if he was a billionaire, but he's still Che motherfucking Guevara. He could tell us how the old days was and what he did and what, can we model ourselves after him, or do we evolve and do something different? So maybe it's going to take the oligarchs and the plutocrats. Maybe only oligarchs and plutocrats can become president, can become representative. What's it going to take to end homelessness and poverty and all the wars? I'm not for sure. But ultimately, I do look down upon Hasan Piker and Jimmy Dore a little bit. A $2 million compound, so Jimmy Dore's got a devil's mansion, right? But Hasan Piker, he's got an angel's home, a nice humble abode. But actually, Hasan Piker's got $3 million versus Jimmy Dore's $2 million. Some respects, Hasan, congratulations, on an individual personal level, right? You're doing good. Hell, you're kicking Jimmy Dore's ass. Look at the capitalism on Hasan Piker. Hasan Piker's capitalism, his capitalistic knowledge is beating Jimmy Dore's capitalistic knowledge, or at least his capitalistic tactics. So Hasan Piker's capitalism, his capitalistic hat is, more, his home is more expensive. So I guess, he's got a bigger, so anyways, what's my prescription? What's my real thoughts about this entire thing? No, you don't really need it. I'm kind of happy for people when they do well for themselves. I do want to see that the hunger is still there and that you're going to be, fighting for the working class and fighting for all the issues that we all need. But I do wonder, why do Jimmy Dore and Hasan Piker live in an area where a $2 to $3 million house is cheap? A $2 to $3 million house is cheap. It's cheap. So they're living in the ghetto, right? Poor Jimmy Dore is living in the ghetto of L.A., and here, the rest of the world thinks he's a fucking, living in a $2 million compound, but he's living in the damn ghetto of L.A. And if that's the case, then who are you trying to impress? If you live in the ghetto of L.A., you're not impressing anybody. You could take that $2 to $3 million and go to Arizona. You can go to Colorado. You could go to New Mexico. There's plenty of cheap land, and you could really, do something there. Can you only tell jokes in California? You can only make movies and do TV shows in California? Is that the only place where anything could ever happen? I think you could tell jokes in Michigan. I think you can make movies in Tallahassee. And, when it comes to Madagascar, Zambia, the internet means that Jimmy Dore and Hasan Piker are international. They can make their money in Mozambique and Madagascar and Dubai and Zambia. And Che Guevara said the great thing about being a revolutionary is that no matter where you're at, you can see injustice. So that means Hasan Piker, Jimmy Dore, they can, go with their message to Madagascar, to Zambia, to Mozambique, to encourage their, oppressed to stand up and to do more for themselves. What is good for the people of Mozambique is good for the people of America. So Jimmy Dore could just get on a yacht, go in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and he could tell all his jokes. He could do all of his YouTube shows, right? He could do a show in, Georgia and New York and Maine. He can go do a damn show anywhere he wants to. Do movies, do TV shows, whatever the hell else he wants to do on top of the comedy. So he could tell jokes anywhere, and he could do his YouTube show anywhere. So why are you going to stay in, L.A., Jimmy Dore, Hasan Piker? Why are you all, staying in the fucking ghetto of L.A.? Is L.A. the end-all, be-all? Are you trying to impress somebody? Doesn't really make sense because next door it's a lot cheaper and you can really turn Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico around. Buy some desert crap bad lands. Invest in it and it really, If you're smart, if you're being smart with your money, maybe you can afford $2 to $3 million, but it would really suck to hear about Hasan Piker and Jimmy Dore in, 5 to 10 years from now having to sell their damn house because they're making a shit ton of money now because, Jimmy Dore is leading the conversation. He's riding the wave, he's leading the conversation, but he's not always going to be leading the conversation. So, you know, get the money while, you know, the getting's good. Get in while all the getting's good. But Jimmy Doel and Hasan Piker might not, you know, be able to grift or exploit the working class as much. They got to get real. They got to get real and want real concrete change. So hopefully their $2 to $3 million houses and mansions and their compounds or whatever, hopefully it doesn't change who they actually are. And a lot of people are giving them a pass real quick. Oh, you know, just give them a pass, right? I'm good, you know, they're doing well. They can make their money. And, well, I need, you know, all you socialists and communists to really explain to me how you're a socialist or how you're a communist. I'm an anarcho-socialist, so I'm part capitalistic. And I believe that capitalism is liberalism, which is what Milton Friedman says, because we're not capitalistic in America. So let's actually be capitalistic. That would be a step in the progressive direction. Actually being, you know, capitalistic, no fraud, no deception. You got to own a business or you got to get a job. The economy is going to fall upon your head. It's all of us. This is upon all of us. We're all a bunch of capitalists. We might be able to get, you know, some fucking lie heap. I've never been able to get any goddamn lie heap. So some of the poor people are able to get the goddamn social services from the fucking feds. But for the most part, we're all a bunch of capitalists, and we have to get a job or we die, right? Work or die. We've got to get a job or we've got to start our own business. So either be a wage slave or, you know, if you can't humble yourself to be underneath anybody, then you got to own your own business. Those are the only two ways. Those are the only two ways. We live in a capitalist society, so that would be nice. Let's get on the same page when it comes to us living in a capitalist society. What does that mean? That means you can make as much profit as you want to make. But some people say Marxism says you can't make profits. So what the fuck what are we talking about? You got a $2 to $3 million house. How can you get a big-ass house if you don't make profits? And you got to make profits to be able to be a good capitalist. Marxism is also, you know, controlling the means of production and shit, too. So there's a lot to, I don't know, I think we got to be real specific when we talk to each other when it comes to democracy, fascism, totalitarianism, all these, you know, republic, oligarchs, plutocrats. But there you go. Let's hear a little bit more.
I'm not saying they don't work hard, but what I'm telling you is these are classic capitalists pulling the wool over your eyes. When will you wake up? I will never know. But go ahead and enjoy the pictures here of Jimmy Doel, and whenever you want to know why I think he's a...
So at the very least, Hasan, Piker, and Jimmy Doel, at the very least, they're conservative. They're conservative with buying these rich-ass houses. At the very most, it's liberalism in the sense of being capitalistic. So they're, you know, it's capitalistic through and through. Either way you go, it's capitalistic. But some people might say it's conservative. Other people might say it's liberal, depending on your, you know, perspective of where America is. I think Germany is able to have a higher GDP than America because they're both good at socialism and capitalism. They're better at socialism and capitalism than America is. So Germany has already had these conversations. They thought this shit through. They've already said a mixed system is where we're supposed to be. We need a mixed system. And do you need to, you know, stay in the rat-infested sewers? No, but if you're Che Guevara, I know if you're in the rat-infested sewers, you'll still be Che Guevara. But I could see Che Guevara, you know, living high on the hog and just being like, you know what? I'm fucking rich. I don't need to go fight no revolution in Bolivia. So I could see that happening too. So we got to keep on these folks, make sure they don't